It's 82 right now.
The Todd Albaugh Show.
The Joint Finance Committee was leaked that they intend to cut $87 million from the UW system budget. And so we put this out on our socials last night, and today the Joint Finance Committee decided to pull that from the agenda. Because apparently, from what I'm told, Republican legislators got a lot of calls. When the truth is disseminated and people react, results can happen.
The Todd Albaugh Show. Weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show, breaking down more decisions from Wisconsin Supreme Court with Pat Kreitlow from Mornings with Pat Kreitlow. Don't
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Nite with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who writes checks his mouth can't cash, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome to Nite. How is everybody doing? I hope you're having a great day. Wherever you're joining us from across the state, it is great to have you as we ring in. It's finally Monday. That's one of my favorite things to say. I like my weekends, but I like being on the air and talking about what we talk about here on Nite on a nightly basis. Great movies, TV, comedy, music, theater, really fun events in Wisconsin across the state. It's just a blast. What could be better? Conrad, how's it going?
It's going well. It is going good. I did nothing.
Okay, that's not too bad. It's okay to do nothing once in a while, right?
Yeah, I just kind of sat around and watched some colored television.
Oh, nice. It's the best kind.
And basically honest. I was around the apartment just cleaning and...
Okay. Put on some tunes.
I did.
Scrub the place down. You got people coming to town, right? Or is that...
I'm leaving town,
You're leaving town.
I'm
you
going
got a tattoo.
Well, that's the following week.
Okay.
July 11th.
Wow, you got the whole summer planned out.
This week I'm going to Beaver Dam because my friends just moved there.
Okay.
So I'm going to see their place and kind of go around Beaver Dam with them.
It's a fine city.
I haven't been there in so long, so it's going to be fun to go see them and see their new place.
Great location. It's close to Madison. It's right off 151. My wife's uncle Jimmy lives there, and it's just it's a swell little town. Love Beaver Dam. We've got a great show tonight, folks. You're here on a great night because we're going to be talking at 6:35. We're talking about film incentives that might take place here in Wisconsin. It's looking good, and we'll have two members of Action Wisconsin here at 6:35 to discuss where things are at with the legislation. It's made it past two hurdles, with one more to go, and I believe the next one, it just gets enacted if the law is going to pass. But it has bipartisan support, and we will talk at 6:35 to Jeff Kurz and Nathan Deming. Nathan will be here in studio. Jeff will join us over the stream. Both very talented filmmakers themselves. Nathan has been on the show before, and as you may or may not remember, he is making a film for every month of the year in Wisconsin, shooting it in Wisconsin. He's done January, February. I assume he's hard at work on March. I just saw him out in the lobby and he was typing. So I'm just going to assume that's on the script for March, and he's writing a part for his old pal Petey. So Nathan will be here in studio. Jeff Kurz is a former Miramax executive and Milwaukee native. He'll join us on the stream. Both great guys and very talented movie makers. And then at 7:35, my old pal Kurt Newman from the Bodines will be here. Kurt is the founder and frontman of the Bodines, and we have worked together. It's been many years, but Kurt wrote a score for my film, The Godfather of Green Bay, and just If you haven't seen the film, folks, and I've been talking about The Godfather of Green Bay, Conrad, tell me if we talk about it too much, because a lot of my friends had something to do with the film, so it comes up here periodically. But I don't want to overdo it. Does that make sense?
Well, it's like your baby, you know. It's your first film, you
It's
know.
one of them,
and so I feel like you don't talk about it enough.
It's my dysfunctional child. But Kurt, rent the film, folks, or see it free on Tubi just to watch Kurt's. Or listen to Kurt's work, I should say. He wrote just a great score, and at the time he had told me he had never written a film score before, so I was blown away by what he did, and he gave us several Bodine songs to use, so the film is peppered with Bodine's music, too. It's great, and it'll be great to talk to Kurt at 7:35. They got some great summer shows coming up here throughout Wisconsin, including one in a couple days at the Atwood Music Hall. The brand spanking new Atwood Music Hall, which, as I understand it, is absolutely state-of-the-art and gorgeous. So we'll talk to Kurt at 7:35. It's good to see Todd Alba.
Yeah.
Todd should just move to Green Bay, I think. He's been here a lot lately.
Yeah. He says it was his grandma's birthday, I believe.
I think his mom's.
Mom's birthday. Okay,
So he came up here to serve cake, literally.
Well, maybe just move into the basement there.
Well, or move in here. We got 2 showers that never get used. I rarely need to towel off after a show.
There's
or
no
a shower.
curtain, so like it's kind of weird. Have you ever showered without a curtain?
You know, I probably have at some point
Just
in my
feels
life.
weird.
Yeah, it does.
Like
and you have to just kind of stand in the corner and prevent any residual water damage.
Like the first week I was at my new place, I didn't get a new curtain yet, and yeah, it was just it felt weird.
It's strange. It's like having no clothes on.
You
or
know,
something. You
and I
kind of
just
feel naked.
I pointed the head like towards the wall, like, you know, in the shower.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want any of the water getting out.
Exactly. And it's funny. I remember when the night we moved to LA from our apartment in Chicago, my wife said, I just want to take a shower. I said, well, go ahead. But we had no shower curtain.
Yeah.
And we had no hot water.
Oh.
So she had to take a cold shower with no shower curtain. But I made sure to stand there and watch her just to make sure everything was okay. I think I can say,
How noble of you.
I can say that about my own wife. All right. I don't know how we got off on that, but we have a great question tonight, folks, too. And let's get to that, Conrad, so people can start playing the game if they want. It is time for the Nightlight question of the night.
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
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 Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Hey, I have a question. Questions?
This question.
Domanda.
Question.
Questions.
Oh, this is going to be fun, folks. Who is your favorite athlete to wear a Wisconsin college or pro uniform? We are opening this up. Who is your favorite athlete to wear a Wisconsin college or pro uniform? You can pick an athlete who went to UW, St. Norbert, Whitewater, Bucks, Brewers, minor league hockey, the Admirals, Packers. You have a blank canvas here. And I'm so excited to share mine.
Go ahead.
It's Hank Aaron.
Okay.
And people forget that because he didn't play his whole career here, but he might be the greatest, in my opinion. And there are people that know more about baseball than me, but I was obsessed with baseball when I was younger. And Hank Aaron, his numbers, it's hard not to, he's at least in the conversation of the top 3 players of all time, in my opinion. Maybe the best. But I would say Hank Aaron. And we spent, when I was a kid, my mom's family lived in Milwaukee and my dad's was from Chicago. So we would drive up when it was still County Stadium. We would tailgate because my Uncle Pat Murphy, no relation. My mom's a Murphy. I'm half Murphy. We would drive up and tailgate in the Milwaukee Brewers parking lot. And part of those times were when Hank Aaron was on the Brewers. And it was pretty cool. I had an autographed picture of him from my Aunt Rosie, and I have no idea what happened to it. I was like 12, didn't care as much as I should have. And now I'm like, why don't you still have that? That would look really cool on the office wall. So I would have to say Hank Aaron, possibly not a runner-up, but top 5, Frank Kaminsky, maybe?
That's mine.
That's your first. Nice.
Frank Kaminsky brought me back to how good a Wisconsin program can actually be.
Yeah.
Because it, many years before, it's like we had one good team, took along to get another good team.
True.
Frank was great in college, and
he was phenomenal.
Brought my love back for college basketball, I'd say. Ever since that year, it's been nonstop me watching
Yeah.
college basketball all the time. So
And
I'd say him is my number one.
that there's nothing wrong. That's a great number one. And frankly, like that was a great team. And Nigel Hayes was great, and Sam Decker.
Yeah.
And but Frank Kaminsky, they don't get that far without Frank.
Oh no.
And I would say if I had a third runner-up, all the great Wisconsin running backs.
There's
There
too
have been
many.
So many.
There's too many.
So cumulatively, I'm going to put them all in my number 3. So there you go.
My favorite out of all of them is Jonathan Taylor, but
Yeah, he's probably the best too, right?
in the league, I would say yeah.
Or had the best pro career. Ron Dane had a pretty good pro career, but not.
Yeah, he kind of went. I mean, Monte Ball kind of had he was good in college, and then he did something that he shouldn't have done in the pros, but
What did he do?
he got a DUI.
Oh, he got a DUI. All right, well, that's terrible.
Yeah,
And
it's bad.
you're putting other people at risk.
Yes.
I get it, but there are worse crimes, and hopefully he didn't endanger anybody. But whatever, it's a crime, of course. My other one is Melvin Gordon. And
Melvin Gordon's great. I wish he'd never left the Chargers. I think that kind of put a little hitch in his career because he wanted more money and they weren't offering. So he's like, well, see ya.
He was so great. I remember watching that game, and I had an opportunity to go to that game when he ran for the 500 plus yards, and for whatever reason, I didn't. But it was fun sitting at home watching it too because the snow was falling.
Yeah.
He ran for over 500 yards, and then a week later, the record was broken.
I know.
all the things that could happen.
Yeah. He had it for a week though.
He had to be sitting home going, "Wait a minute, what?" Poor guy.
Well, all right. So Frank Kaminsky's my one.
Yeah. All right.
2, Prince Fielder.
Oh yeah.
He's my favorite baseball player
Okay. Of all time.
of all time. Yeah.
Favorite. Oh, nice.
Because I looked up to him so much as a kid playing baseball.
Okay.
And then number 3. This is tough. I really like Kristen Yelich. But
Over Giannis?
Okay, so
Or Bart Starr? Or?
if this is our favorites,
Yeah.
I would probably say John Kuhn
Oh wow. Okay.
because I was
Fullback,
a fullback, and I looked up to him too, and I just think he had a really cool chant when he got the ball out every time,
Coon.
but like in unison,
Yeah.
it was so cool.
But when he heard booze, they were saying Coon.
Yeah.
What happened when you heard booze? Were they saying Krieger?
They
I hope you didn't hear booze. I don't think you heard booze. All right,
get this
those
kid
are great.
off. He stinks.
those are great. So mine, Hank Aaron, Frank Kaminsky, and then an assortment of Wisconsin running backs. Conrad says Frank Kaminsky, Prince Fielder, and John Kuhn. All right, that's a great starting point. Let us know what who your favorites are, folks. To ever wear a Wisconsin pro or college uniform. Those are the parameters. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. We will read your text on the radio. Hope you play along. It's always more fun when you guys get involved in the show. I saw Formula One. You know what? I'm going to save that for after the break. I have a pet peeve. I have a new pet peeve.
Oh no!
Listen. I didn't know I had this many pet peeves until I was on the radio. But it was my anniversary this past weekend. My wife and I went out to dinner. I go to the restroom. No towels. They only have the blow dryer for the hands. And then one of those doors, you can't just like use an elbow. You have to lock it and use the handle. And there's no way around that unless you want to go grab disgusting toilet paper. And I'm in a restaurant. What do? You got to remedy that. If you own a restaurant, you have to give people the opportunity not to touch the door handle after they wash their hands.
You know what? The best thing I've seen with those types of bathrooms is people who have a foot. They can put your foot on the door and then move it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the best.
I think you should go back in there and tell them what to add.
Well, you know what? I went to another place. I went to an Italian place I love. And I can't believe I did this, but I suggested they had Bar Rescue on. Like, they have served good food.
Bar Rescue sucks, by the
And I
way.
got to listen to this big mouth on the TV. It's like, it's so annoying. And I said, have you guys ever thought about playing some Italian music or some light jazz? And the kid said, yeah. He goes, you're the second person to say that today. And I go, it's because of that. It's that TV. If there's like a big sports game, a game on or something, I get it. But come on, put some jazz on. And then the owner comes over. and the kid says, hey, he thinks we should play music. I'm like, don't do that. I don't want to be that guy. All right, we're coming back, folks. I'm going to tell you about F1, the movie, and we'll read your texts, and we're just going to talk about stuff. We got a lot to talk about. I can't talk. I didn't talk at all today. I'm warming up for the first hour. All right, it's Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network. Coming right back.
From Ashwaubenon to Alloway, this is 97.9 WGBW. Remembering Vietnam, brought to you by The Dispensary.
One night, they blew up the mess hall. Another night, they hit the motor pool and tried to blow up all the trucks. They set charges around the guard tower at least once. It didn't seem like they had one specific target, really. They just wanted to destroy and kill anybody they could. There was one night we were up in the tower firing, and I saw a B-40 rocket heading towards us. I could see the sparks trailing. I was firing in that direction and thinking, okay, I'm dead. I'm dead. There were 3 of us up there firing, and I expected all of us to be killed. We kept firing, and nothing happened. The next day, we did an inspection, and there's that rocket embedded in the sandbags below us. It could have taken off the top of the bunker and killed us like nothing. They were that powerful. Mike Brzezinski, United States Army, Vietnam.
Hear this full story at WGBW.FM. Click on Remembering Vietnam. Brought to you by The Dispensary. Online at thed8dispensary.com.
Mark your calendars and head to Marinette on July 12th for the 13th annual Logging and Heritage Festival. Located on historic Stevenson Island, there will be free kids activities, food trucks, BMX stunt bike, live music, logging exhibitions, fireworks, and much more. The island opens at noon and the fun doesn't stop until the fireworks are over. It's the Marinette Logging and Heritage Festival on July 13th on Stevenson Island in Marinette. Don't miss it.
Insight Eye Care has been serving the Fox Valley for over 30 years and are proud sponsors of Mino and the Mayor's Eye on the Community. Insight offers comprehensive eye care, including glasses and contact lenses. Their doctors have a special interest in treating chronic eye disease, specialty contact lenses, and pediatric care. Find Insight on Sawyer Street in Oshkosh and Chain Drive in Appleton. Visit WIinsight.com to schedule your eye exam. Improving lives by improving sight. Insight Eye Care.
Small businesses are the heart of America. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Find a mentor today at score.org.
As Wisconsin is
balls under boob and butt, balls under boob and butt, chest and thighs and feet and back. All day odor protection for under $10.
That sounds like big savings. However, this is Pete Schwaba and Nightlight. Great to have you with me on this Monday night. That was a commercial Conrad found. And what are they saying? Balls
under boob and butt.
Balls under boob and butt. And they're saying that's where you should put deodorant on.
Their all day spray.
I agree heartily with 2 of those. What I don't understand, the deodorant thing has gotten out of hand. Now they have deodorant for every body part. At some point, we just have to admit we stink. And maybe get the basics. Go with 1 or 2 body parts. Obviously, the underarms, but maybe not. Like, if you're not going to be running around all day, I don't know. It's just getting out of control. It's like, it's okay to smell a little bit at the end of the day. You don't need that kind of protection.
Well, at the end of the day, I shower so I don't smell.
That's the time you should do it, is because when you shower at night, your body is clean and toxin-free for like 8 to 10 hours, however long you sleep. You shower in the morning, you start sweating immediately.
Yeah, and you're not making your bed dirty either.
Correct.
Which is good.
That is good, except here's what my wife does. Like, I go to bed last night, I got the air on. She gets up at 7, 6:30, whatever, turns it off. And by 8 o'clock, I wake up sweating. I'm like, how did this happen? What is going on here? It's just rude. Antisocial behavior.
I have a massive fan just pointed at my face. So
that's not the least bit annoying. So head, shoulders, no. It's balls, under boob, and butt.
Yep.
I think we
But
could say all those
also
words.
thighs
Okay.
and feet.
Thighs and feet. Feet is the big one. I would say outside of armpits, it's got to be feet. Unless you're going to be intimate with someone, then I get why you'd want to,
See,
go
this
below
is
the equator.
this is a good thing that it's a spray
Yeah.
because I don't feel like you should use a stick for all of those parts. The same.
Right. You could get carried away too. The spray, it's like hands off. If you start touching yourself with one of those sticks, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, would you want to use, what you use for your pits
Right.
on your feet?
No, I mean the stuff. If you use deodorant on your feet, isn't that a different thing? Like, it's not the same stuff you're putting on your armpit. And if you spray, is that like bad for the environment? I don't know. Is it like Right Guard when people used to, because they kind of frowned on using those?
So I told you I found this commercial today, and I said it was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Worst thing I've ever seen? It's not worse than the Russell Wilson commercial.
Okay, I forgot about that one.
And at least,
that one's pretty bad.
At least they're providing a service here. They're trying to help you. But I don't know that we need that much deodorant.
I was just trying to watch something on YouTube, and that ad came on, and I replayed it like 4 times.
Are you sure someone didn't send that to you?
It was just an ad that popped up. I was like, well,
All right,
what?
fair enough. This is so all right. So I saw F1 over the weekend. Now it's down. It was in the 90th percentile on Rotten Tomatoes. Now it's like low 80s. I see people on social media loving this movie. I don't know if they're planted there by the studio or not. It's not a great movie. It's entertaining because the racing stuff is really cool. I'll tell you the best thing about the movie to me is when the Formula One cars would pull over and the pit crew, how fast they work blows my mind. And honestly, that was the best part of the movie for me. The racing scenes are cool. The music is good, but the movie is 2 hours and 36 minutes, and I bet there's a 20-page script. Characters are just like, who cares? I get it. Brad Pitt's older. It's like Tin Cup meets Bull Durham meets Days of Thunder. We've seen this story a gazillion times. And Brad Pitt was doing like this weird thing where it's like, I got to get out there on that track. Like kind of this raspy. It just did not seem realistic to me. The movie is wall-to-wall music. And the scenes are great. The racing scenes are cool. The music's good, but I don't need 2.5 hours of music. And it could have been an hour and a half long. And having said that, I didn't dislike it. I was entertained, but it was a video. It was not a movie. And like Nathan Deming, who will be here shortly, said he felt that way about Oppenheimer. It was like watching a 2-hour trailer. And that's kind of what this was like. It's like, give me some story.
So would you recommend waiting for it to
Yeah,
go on streaming?
I would wait. I mean, unless you want, if you go with a group and you want a popcorn movie, maybe. It's not like it's bad. It just did not grab me in any way. And I like Brad Pitt. We just did that Brad Pitt question Friday. Is he a good actor or not? He's not good in this. He's okay. He's just not that good. And it's too bad because I felt like they could have really done something. It'd be interesting to get Emerson Lehman's opinion on the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I
wonder if he's seen it yet. We'll
have to reach out.
Send him a text.
Our question of the night, folks, is who is your favorite athlete who has ever worn a college or pro uniform in Wisconsin? Could be the Badgers. I said St. Norbert's. Carroll College. I don't care. They've worn a college or pro uniform in Wisconsin. Who's your favorite athlete? Obviously, Packers, Brewers, Bucks, Milwaukee Admirals, Green Bay Blizzard even. Any one of these people are qualified. I said Hank Aaron is my favorite. Conrad said Prince Fielder, correct?
Frank Kaminsky, Prince Fielder.
I'm sorry. And Frank Kaminsky is on my list as well. So going to the stream, Dave says Irv Kunish, 1960 Rose Bowl. Dave has been listening faithfully for a year. Thank you for that, Dave. Roughly. And I know who his dad is because he coached football at the Marinette Public High School. I did not know he played in the 1960 Rose Bowl. That is pretty cool. And a nice little homage to your dad. Thank you, Dave. And then he says Ricky Blyer. I assume he means Rocky Blyer. We all do it, Dave. There he goes. He corrected himself. Conrad's mom says Reggie White and Donald Driver.
2 great Packers.
Yeah. Not going to get much argument there. All right. When we come back, we're going to talk film incentives here in Wisconsin. Will they happen or won't they? We'll hear from the experts. 2 guys actively involved in trying to bring incentives to Wisconsin, Nathan Deming and Jeff Kurz. That's all coming up next after the news. And maybe we'll even read some more text. We'll see what happens. It's one of those kind of nights. It's Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I just wanna dance the night away.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW. As Wisconsin is summer weekends being spent on the lake, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. The Wisconsin Realtors Association releases its May 2025 real estate report, and Joanne Krulatz has the details.
Home sales fell for a third straight month. Affordability improved 5.1% over the past 12 months, while the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate fell 24 basis points to 6.82% over the same period. Year-to-date, home sales fell 2.7% compared to the first 5 months of 2024, and the median price rose 6.8% to $315,000 over that same period, but remains low by historical standards. Existing home sales fell for a third straight month, but the pace of decline moderated in May. Specifically, closed sales fell just 2.1% over the past 12 months, which is well below the annual slide in home sales seen in recent months. Relative to May 2024, the median price rose 4.3% to $330,000. The statewide inventory picture has improved. While new listings fell 1.5% in May compared to that same month last year, total listings rose 8.5% to just over 22,000 homes on the market. All urban classifications saw improvement in months of supply. Metropolitan counties with large cities, as well as micropolitan counties with smaller cities and towns, remain strong. Sellers markets, with just 3.5 and 4.1 months of supply, respectively. However, rural counties improved to 5.7 months of supply in May, which is close to the 6-month benchmark, indicating a balanced market.
I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. How do actors cope with being part of a really dark horror film? Violet McGraw and Allison Williams, stars of Megan 2.0, made themselves happy when the cameras weren't rolling by singing Taylor Swift songs. The 37-year-old Williams and 14-year-old McGraw are both Swifties. McGraw, who plays Williams' niece in the film, says the two bonded due to the dark material, and the way they ended up coping with it was by pretending to be Taylor. Megan 2.0 is rating fresh on Rotten Tomatoes and is currently in theaters. If mystery and horror isn't your thing, how about mystery and comedy? Peacock's remake of the 1989 Tom Hanks film The Burbs is gaining steam. The reboot is not a movie, but rather a series, and the cast is headlined by Keke Palmer, whose credits include Nope and the recent surprise hit One of Them Days. Palmer is also executive producing. If you're feeling nostalgic for the movie, you might dig the show, as it is filmed on the same street on the Universal backlot as the movie. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
As Wisconsin is summer weekends being spent on the lake, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. A stray shower storm this evening, otherwise mostly clear, and a low in the low 60s tonight. Sunshine and warmer for tomorrow, high in the low 80s. Another slight storm chance Wednesday and Thursday. A little more humidity as well, highs into the mid 80s. It's 82 right now.
The Todd Albaugh Show.
The Joint Finance Committee was leaked that they intend to cut $87 million from the UW system budget. And so we put this out on our socials last night, and today the Joint Finance Committee decided to pull that from the agenda. Because apparently, from what I'm told, Republican legislators got a lot of calls. When the truth is disseminated and people react, results can happen.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. The Maggie Dawn Show.
Indy Dattagupta, he is with the Center for Law and Social Policy.
The Trump administration's agenda is reducing economic growth. The programs that they're proposing cutting, like Medicaid and SNAP, especially for kids, actually more than pay for themselves. So we are really looking at a tough long-term economic outlook entirely created by the current policymakers.
The award-winning Maggie Dawn Show at its new time, weekdays 4 till 6 p.m. Todd Alba.
Hey, everybody, join us next time. We'll continue to monitor the budget.
Right in the middle and then comes back on, and because you're worried it's not coming back, and then it does, and you're happy. Welcome back. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Great to have you with me on this Monday night, broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Green Bay. Tom from New Berlin. Our question of the night is: who is your favorite college or pro athlete, that's worn a Wisconsin uniform? Pro, college, St. Norbert's. Middleton College, somebody said Dave Craig. We'll read that text. That was a good pull. Dave on the stream says, wow, nice tangent. I assume he is talking about that perverted commercial you found, Conrad.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good talk.
It was a good talk. Tom from New Berlin says, no curtain or partition, walls boot camp style. I don't know what that is. What were we talking about 23 minutes ago?
That was when we don't have a shower curtain.
Oh, okay. I thought he meant the urinals at Wrigley Field. But either way, that works. Jack from Merrimack says, funny thing, my first thought was Hank Aaron, too. Thank you, Jack. Great choice. Pamela from Wisconsin Rapids, our pal Pamela says, Robin Yount was my favorite. Hard to go wrong with Robin Yount, too. Pro athlete at 19 years old. Keep those texts coming, folks. We'll read them throughout the course of the show. And right now, this is exciting. Hour 2, Kurt Newman, the founder of the band, legendary Wisconsin band, the Bodines. He is the frontman, lead singer, guitarist. He will be here at 7:35 to talk about a show they have coming up in Madison in just 2 days at the beautiful new Atwood Music Hall. We'll talk to Kurt at 7:35 p.m. Right now, my pal Nathan Deming. Have I done a show that you haven't been on? I'm just curious.
I wasn't here last week.
That's true. You were.
Yeah.
Nathan Deming is back in town. It's great to have him in the
Where's
studio.
Jeff?
Filmmaker Nathan Deming. And he joins us here in the studio. Do we have Jeff? There he is.
Hello.
And hi, Jeff. And Jeffrey Kurz joins us from Milwaukee. Also,
I feel like
Wisconsin
at a disadvantage because I'm not in person.
Yeah, we are really bonding here.
I'm co-hosting tonight.
Jeff is on the periphery, but we'll make you feel welcome, Jeff. It's good to have you, buddy.
It's nice to see you both.
Yeah, likewise.
And Conrad too.
Conrad, can they see you?
No, they can.
Let's remedy that. There we go.
There
now
he
we're all
is.
together again. It's like the Brady Bunch with what's happening.
Isn't Conrad Kewaskom's favorite son?
That is true.
Self-proclaimed. He's top 5. Let's not get crazy here. I mean, there's some people. There's some big hitters come out of Kewaskom. Hey, it's great to have you guys here, and this is a conversation I've been looking forward to having with both of you. I love talking film in Wisconsin. I love talking to filmmakers who make their home here, and what better way to bring us all together on this Monday night than to talk about this really cool process that's going on with Action Wisconsin, and you guys working hard to bring film incentives here to Wisconsin. Let's start and jump in right there. Where are things at right now, Jeff? Since you're at a disadvantage, since you're on the stream, let's start with you.
Okay. So just in case your audience doesn't know, so Wisconsin is one of 13 states that does not offer production incentives, and it is one of only 3 states that does not have a designated film office. And the importance of production incentives, that it's the number one factor that production companies consider when they're choosing a location to film in, right? So oftentimes, if a production company wants to come to Wisconsin to film, their first question is, what are your tax incentives? And when we say, oh, we don't have those, the line goes dead, right? So Nathan and I and a bunch of other people have been working diligently to bring production incentives back. And so bills have been written, one in the Assembly and one in the Senate. They have strong bipartisan support because really this is not, it's about filmmaking, right? But it's also about creating and retaining jobs. It is about boosting local economies, and it is about promoting tourism in the state. So we have 42 legislators who are co-sponsoring these bills. As I said, it's a big bipartisan group. And Nathan and I have been testifying twice in Madison in front of subcommittees in both the Assembly and the Senate. And both of those subcommittees that we testified in front of, the bills were passed unanimously.
That is great news. You know, it's funny you say this because I'm sitting here. I love that there's bipartisan support at a time when our country is incredibly polarized. And every night I come on the air and I say I'm talking about things that bring us together: movies, TV, comedy, music, like sports. So it's great that this is a bipartisan bill. And I want to say it was the brainchild of a Republican state senator or two of them. Why did this bill? I mean, we all love movies, but typically, oftentimes the right, Hollywood is like kind of a target of the right. Why are they in favor of the incentives, and why are Democrats? What brought them together on this?
Because they realize that this is, once again, an economic issue. It's an economic growth issue, and it represents an economic, it's a model and a revenue stream that the state does not have right now. So the two authors of the bills, there's Senator Julian Bradley from New Berlin, and before he was a rock star legislator, he was a professional wrestler. So he understands not only the economics of entertainment, but also just how to kind of build strong support among his colleagues for this issue. And then on the Assembly, there was David Armstrong from Rice Lake. And Representative Armstrong is the executive director of the Barron County Economic Development Corporation. So this is somebody who really understands what his constituents want and what would make this state grow economically. And you know, because that's kind of what he does. So they both realized that this was a great economic building block for the state.
Nathan, on the website, it says there's a 30% tax credit that will be issued. Is that in the form of a rebate? What does that mean exactly? Or is it something you can write off? How does that work?
I feel like I got a Jeff question with that.
Oh, sorry.
But
listen, I assume you guys are interchangeable.
Go ahead, Nathan, and I'll interrupt
Please
you.
defer,
if,
though.
you know.
Yeah, of course.
I believe we're proposing a transferable tax credit, which can be, once it's given to you, can be resold to a corporation of your choice at a later date. I'll personally probably go to Kohl's or Target or something like that.
So wait a minute. Kohl's Cash counts as film incentives. Am I understanding that correctly?
Did I explain that a little bit right, Jeff?
I don't know about the Kohl's Cash, but more like the 11% rebate at Menards. But yeah.
Okay. Either one works. That's great. And you guys, please defer to each other, or I'm just trying to keep. I feel bad because you're here in person and Jeff's not, but he got two questions. I'm just trying to even the score, guys. I don't want to play favorites.
Well, maybe, I mean, Nathan, talk about your work and why you feel like this is so important. And here's the thing is that Nathan is working out of, people think that this is, what we've discovered with Action Wisconsin is that we built a coalition statewide. This is not a regional issue. It is a statewide issue. And we have met people all over the state who want these production incentives. In fact, because of the way this bill is structured, it's a very Wisconsin-centric program. It will encourage Wisconsin investors to invest in Wisconsin filmmaking and also infrastructure like sound stages. And we're already aware of two different individuals who are pushing for production facilities in both Superior in the northern part of the state. I'm going to use my finger to push up. In Superior, and then in Kenosha in the southern part of the state. And that's just two. I also am personally aware of 10 movies that are kind of in holding patterns, waiting to find out if these bills pass because they want to shoot in Wisconsin. I'm not to. I don't want to interview Nathan, but I'm very, very curious to hear about kind of his experience in Eau Claire.
My guests are Jeff Kurz and Nathan Deming, two Wisconsin filmmakers who are actively working to bring film incentives to Wisconsin. Let's do that. I want to get to separate projects that you guys are working with, but I know you're doing. We'll get an update on your project too, with doing 1 month for the year. I think that's so cool. How long would it take? Let's say, you guys have made it over 2 hurdles. Let's say this goes through. How long will it take to bring those 10 projects, so to speak, Jeff here and Nathan, or how long will it take to set up a film office where it's running cohesively and we're actually attracting projects?
Well, if it's passed this year, it'll go into effect in January 2026, right, Jeff?
Correct.
Okay. So any production that's planning ahead now could conceivably start planning for getting those incentives once they start. Like they could start planning production and pre-production for any time after January 2026 and receive those incentives. And I mean, we both have heard of projects that are like, we're not just saying this. There's a lot of people who are interested in shooting in Wisconsin. When we testified before the House Ways and Means Committee, the one thing that everybody had a story about was the kind of the phone call that Jeff described at the beginning, which is somebody was like, hey, I want to film in Wisconsin. I want to film in Rhinelander. I want to film somewhere. Tell me about it. And then they find out there's no tax incentives. There's no film office. And then the phone goes dead. So like there's people who want to film here. And like, if we just get like a lot of things can start to run once we get these incentives in place.
How long before, like, let's say things get up and running or it takes a while. Are you worried that, because some states have pulled back their incentives? I know Michigan did it a few years ago. Are you worried that could happen here? Have you taken the temperature of the general population?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that through Action Wisconsin, we really have gotten out a large effort for people to contact their legislators. I'm not so concerned about, listen, what I always say about these production incentive programs from state to state is they're like eggs, and everybody likes their eggs cooked a different way. So the way we're cooking our eggs here is it's a very Wisconsin-centric program. Only money paid to Wisconsin residents and only money spent with Wisconsin businesses will count for these tax credits that Nathan was talking about. So there are certain states that have kind of a door wide open policy of, come in here and we will cover all of your expenses. That's not the way this program is designed, and it's designed so that it makes the most sense economically for the state.
That's a great answer. And just to follow up, like, because you only recoup money that's spent in Wisconsin, so you don't want to bring crews in from out of state because that's not valid. So how long will it take before you have crews? Like, let's say you do get a lot of productions come here. Do we have the crews to support that here, or would that happen quickly?
Would you say that's a little bit of the chicken and egg? Like, because we have people here, like, but they need to be allowed to stay here. I mean, we've talked about over and over again this number of, 500 film graduates are trained in Wisconsin every year, and then they go and they make money in Chicago. They go and they make money elsewhere. So they don't have a reason to stay, but if we give them a reason to stay, they'll stay here. And there's something happening right now. We've both met people that are moving back right now from LA and New York, because we didn't get to the big picture yet, but LA might be not the source of Hollywood anymore.
Not much going on. And times are changing, probably due in part to COVID and a lot of other stuff. My guests, Jeff Kurz and Nathan Deming. Nathan's in studio. Jeff's on the stream. We're talking about film incentives here in Wisconsin with Action Wisconsin, a great program that looks like it'll pass. We'll talk more about that coming up after this very short break on Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba. You got the Civic Media Radio Network.
I wanna cry, cry, cry alone. When you're feeling blue, I'm waiting just for you. Someone's living for love.
As Wisconsin as a game of cribbage with good friends, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Mark your calendars and head to Marinette on July 12th for the 13th annual Logging and Heritage Festival. Located on historic Stevenson Island, there will be free kids activities, food trucks, BMX stunt bike, live music, logging exhibitions, fireworks, and much more. The island opens at noon and the fun doesn't stop until the fireworks are over. It's the Marinette Logging and Heritage Festival on July 13th on Stevenson Island in Marinette. Don't miss it.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Hey, it's Amanda, and we all know that Northeast Wisconsin has some of the best events around, but trying to find them all can be tricky. So here at WGBW, we decided to do the work for you. Prevent boredom on any night by going to WGBW.FM and click events in the top right corner. You'll never have to spend forever scrolling to find out what's going on in your area. And if you got an event to share, hit us up by emailing info@WGBW.FM. We can work together to have real news and great conversation while giving you the 411 on what's happening in New Wisco.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. Ever since I started the recombobulation area, I've written an in-depth breakdown of every new edition of the Marquette University Law School poll. The newest poll asks about a range of topics, whether Tony Evers should run for a third term, where people stand on Donald Trump's economic policies, and a host of issues relating to the state budget. The poll paints a picture of a polarized Wisconsin. Many people are very dug into their partisan camps, which is perhaps to be expected in the most evenly divided state in the nation. But there are a number of issues polled that do have the support of more than 2/3 of Wisconsin voters. Those include extending Medicaid coverage for new moms, legalizing marijuana, making major increases in state aid for special education, providing mental health services in schools, allowing citizen-led ballot initiatives, and banning cell phones in schools. What do most of these issues have in common? They are policies being advanced by Democrats in Wisconsin.
Find all of Dan's work at the recombobulation area.
Hey Wisconsin, it's construction season and the Wisconsin DOT wants to help you safely navigate work zones in your area. Check 511wi.gov or download the free 511 app to see current road work, closures, detours, and camera views on your route. Wherever your travels take you, know before you go with 511wi.gov. That's 511wi.gov. And remember, know before you go. Always park the phone while driving. Sponsored by the Wisconsin.
Schwaba. I am Pete Schwaba. Great to have you with me on this Monday night as we broadcast statewide here from beautiful downtown Green Bay. And we're talking about something that I find absolutely fascinating with two fascinating guys, and I am a big fan of both of them. Nathan Deming and Jeff Kurz are here. They're both filmmakers and actively trying to pass legislation here in Wisconsin that would enact film incentives and hopefully draw a lot more productions to Wisconsin, because it's funny, you guys. I know you're right. I know there are people that would want to bring their project here. There are people that already shoot here, even though they don't have incentives, just to get, because if you don't have incentives, I guess favors in a way are like incentives. I know when I shot a film here, we got so much help from the community. You kind of have to rely on that, don't you?
Yeah, I think everything made now is made uphill, right? Like Wisconsin actually had like 2 hit independent films in the past year, which is Hundreds of Beavers, which I'm sure some people know, and Green and Gold. Hundreds of Beavers, Jeff knows a little bit about the production of that, but I know that Green and Gold, like that's a movie all about the Packers.
Yeah.
The producers wanted to shoot that in Illinois for the tax incentive. And like, can you imagine the press tour when they would have gone around and been like, oh yeah, we filmed, that's Door County, but really it's like Aurora.
You can't fake authenticity in an indie film, I don't think. I think that's and nothing against Illinois or anywhere else, but you have to shoot that here. You guys, what is there a minimum spending requirement? Like if someone has a movie and they say, well, I have 25 grand, can they cash in on the incentives, or does it have to be $1 million? What are you guys angling for?
The minimum spend is actually $100,000, which is a perfectly reasonable amount of money to make a feature film. And by the way, I have had filmmakers say, "But what if I only have $75,000?" And what my response to that is that if you go back to your investors and say, "For another $25,000, we qualify for production incentives," the thing about incentives is that their investors are going to see a return on their investment almost immediately after all the accounting has been done and the credits are sold.
Great answer. Jeff, you have a background. You were a studio executive at Miramax for years, and you've been in Wisconsin for a while now. For people listening, what goes into picking a location? Like, is it typically up to the producers, or do they have a wish list and the studio has to sign off on it? Or does the studio just say right away, we are going to New Mexico or Atlanta because the incentives are best there? Is that a give and take, or even a negotiation for that matter?
Well, it depends on what kind of production you're talking about, right? So for a studio, yeah, they're always going to be going where they're going to get the best deal. And if you look at credits for movies, you'll notice that I'm seeing Quebec show up in a lot of credits for movies that I know they didn't shoot there, but they probably did post-production there. And so they're kind of piecemealing these productions together. So that's kind of the way the studios operate. As far as locations go for an independent film, it's really about how can I make this, so I'm based in Milwaukee, right? And I've got a producing partner in New York and another one in London, and I've worked with the BBC and Film 4 in London, but the last two features that I made were made here. And it's really all about figuring out what the economics are and how am I going to make, I'm going to have a certain amount of money. How am I going to make my movie with that certain amount of money? And I will tell you that I find that it's less expensive to film in Wisconsin, just because of what Nathan was just saying about, and what you were just saying about all the goodwill that comes along with making a movie here.
You also mentioned at the beginning of the interview, Jeff, about what's going on in Eau Claire, and I'll let Nathan speak to that. You're in that area, and you had a mixer recently. Talk about the success and the interest you got.
We were just talking about, like, I think a cool thing about the nice timing of Action Wisconsin and this effort to, I mean, we should have had a film office yesterday, but the next best time is today or whatever, but this has been a really cool opportunity, I think, for filmmakers around the state to find each other and network in a way. I really think regional filmmaking, regional cinema is the future. And it's been so cool to see people connect from around the state. And like, I just threw on a little mixer a few weeks ago. We had a huge turnout and Jeff spoke at it. And like, it was cool to feel like Jeff connecting with them and, Milwaukee connecting with Eau Claire. And I've seen that like around the state the past few months, the amount of enthusiasm there is. You're talking about crew base. We have passionate people here who can easily be trained. Duluth is an amazing example of a town that, like, within the past 5 years went from having a very small crew base to, through their film office, they trained people to do G&E, to do PA work, to learn set etiquette, like for a pretty low cost. And now they're bringing in a regular pipeline of like Lifetime movies, Hallmark movies. And this fall, they're going to have like a studio movie coming through. Like, that's all possible if we just put our energy in the right direction. And we have that too. I mean, Door County just saw, what was the name of it, Jeff? The one that just shot in
Cherry Pie Christmas.
Cherry Pie Christmas. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We have look, how many Hallmark movies have you seen that are Christmas where you notice that the snow is fake in the background? Like, because it was shot in Santa Clarita, California. We have actual snow here.
I actually prefer fake snow myself, but
and by the way, what I want to add to that, and Pete, this kind of goes back to something that you had asked about. You said, there are movies being made here in Wisconsin, and that's true, but they are one-off situations. It's not a steady pipeline, and it could be a steady pipeline if we had production incentives. And crews could have steady employment if they went from production to production.
Great point. And you cannot put a price on what it does for tourism. Like, I always used to wonder, why is a film office under tourism? Well, it's such a great way to showcase our state. How do you compete? And I know we have to do a break soon, but I'll at least start you guys down this path so you can think of it. Let's say the incentives go through here. We have a beautiful state. In fact, let's get this after the news or after intermission. But think about how do we compete? Minnesota has very aggressive incentives. And if you shoot up in Duluth, you can maximize or you can utilize two of them. You got Illinois. I don't know if Michigan, I think they're coming back. But let's think about that. Like, how does Wisconsin take some of those projects away and sell itself compared to the other states? All right. Great discussion. We'll continue it after intermission. Jeff Kurz is here from Milwaukee. Nathan Deming is in studio all the way from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Beautiful places, both of them, in our lovely state where we should have film incentives. We'll continue the discussion after the news. Kurt Newman of the Bodines is here at 7:35. A great night here at Night Light, and great to have you with me. Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm coming home, baby. Your thoughts.
This is 97.9 WGBW Denmark, Green Bay's real news and great conversation, a Civic Media radio station.
ABC News, I'm Stephanie Officer. The Trump administration announcing it has revoked the U.S. visas for the British band Bob Vylan. Officials saying it's a response to the rappers chanting "Death, Death" to the Israeli Defense Forces at the Glastonbury Music Festival in the UK this past weekend. State Department Press Secretary Tammy Bruce.
It really is about our standards, about who we let in the country, that we're not telling people what they can sing about or what they can say. It's not involved here at all. They obviously felt free to say what they were saying and chanting at Glastonbury, and they can do that. And we can do what we do.
An endangered wild Asian horsefoal is living its best life thanks to an unlikely savior. Marat the horse fell critically ill soon after its birth at the Minnesota Zoo nearly 2 months ago. Intensive care saved his life, but his mother rejected him when he returned. His future looked grim until Alice, a domestic pony of the Americas who'd recently lost her newborn, accepted him as her own. This is ABC News.
Connecting audiences, powering brands. This is Civic Media. Learn more at civicmedia.us/advertise.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. As we begin planning for the 4th of July travel holiday, Melissa Kay tells us where gas prices are.
Average gas prices fell 7.3 cents over the last week, landing at $2.96 in the state today. This is 1.5 cents per gallon lower than a month ago and over 30 cents lower than this time last year. Gas Buddy's Independence Day gas price forecast projects the national average price to fall to $3.15 on July 4th. This would be down nearly 35 cents from last year's national average and the lowest Independence Day average since 2021. Gas Buddy officials say if tensions in the Middle East remain contained and the U.S. avoids a major hurricane, the national average could fall below $3 at some point this summer.
In Appleton and Oshkosh, the average price for a gallon of gas is $2.84. It's $2.85 in Green Bay. Cat and the Hurricane were the headliners at the Oshkosh Pride celebration Sunday at the Oshkosh Arena. Cat Rhapsody said the all-queer trans band is honored to do Pride celebrations.
We want to be the representation that we needed when we were kids, because queer, trans, and kids right now in this moment need positive adult figures to look up to show them that they can also grow into healthy, happy, queer and trans adults. So that's why we get on stage and we preach the good preaching of you can do this too. You can be an adult, queer person in this world. You deserve love and safety. And also, if you ever have a chance to start a band with your friends, start a band with your friends.
Oshkosh Pride brought over 1,400 people to the Oshkosh Arena Sunday to celebrate the LGBTQ+ community and its allies. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
A new contract for Bobby Portis. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks reached a deal over the weekend for 30-year-old Bobby Portis to remain in Milwaukee. It's a 3-year contract worth $44 million. They've also made an offer to 23-year-old guard Ryan Rollins to stay with the team. Baseball, a travel day for the Brewers. They play the Mets tomorrow night. The Crew losing 4-3 in extra innings after Trevor McGill gave up a game-tying home run to former Brewer Orlando Arcia in the 9th.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, everybody's a big leaguer for a reason.
season, and their season's obviously not going the way they wanted to, but they still got 19 wins on the board, and one of them was today. So it is what it is, and fix it and move forward.
The Rockies' Kyle Farmer.
Our record isn't very good, obviously. We're just taking day by day, and for us to come back and keep fighting is a positive. We just got to keep doing that and take the positives out of a win and just kind of slowly get back to it.
That's Rockies infielder Kyle Farmer with sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
Reach, engage, grow with Civic Media. Log on civicmedia.us/advertise.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. A stray shower or storm this evening, otherwise mostly clear and a low in the low 60s tonight. Sunshine and warmer for tomorrow, high in the low 80s. Another slight storm chance Wednesday and Thursday. A little more humidity as well, highs into the mid-80s. It's 82 right now.
John Mino and Jim Schmidt.
On Tuesday's show, Dana Polachek joins us from Lacrosse Distributing, and Shanasty, Ireland will share the ultimate July 4th menu.
Plus, Sean Katzbeck gives us the details on Marinette's Logging In Heritage Festival. Join us.
My name is DeMar Hamlin. I play for the Buffalo Bills, and I play safety. CPR saved my life. I've teamed up with the American Heart Association as a national ambassador to help create a nation of lifesavers, turning bystanders into lifesavers. Through CPR education and access to AEDs. Nearly 3 out of 4 cardiac arrests that don't happen in hospitals happen in homes. Join me to ensure everyone has the chance to live longer, healthier lives. Visit heart.org/nation.
The Todd Albaugh Show.
The Joint Finance Committee was leaked that they intend to cut $87 million from the UW system budget. And so we put this out on our socials last night, and today the Joint Finance Committee decided to pull that from the agenda. Because apparently, from what I'm told, Republican legislators got a lot of calls. When the truth is disseminated and people react, results can happen.
The Todd Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who loves the sin but hates the sinner, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome back, folks. It is time for Act 2 of Night Light. If you missed the first hour, oh, man, let's catch you up quick. Our question of the night is, who is your favorite Wisconsin athlete to wear a Wisconsin uniform, be it college, pro, whatever? I said Hank Aaron, with Frank Kaminsky being in second place. Conrad said Frank Kaminsky with Prince Fielder in second place. We've got some texts we need to get to. We'll do that shortly. We talked about a new deodorant. This ad is 15 seconds long. Let's hear that again, Conrad. Let's catch people up with this great new product. People should be indulging.
Sure, yeah.
Balls under boob and butt, boob and butt. Balls under boob and butt, boob and butt. Chest and thighs and feet and back. All day odor protection for under $10.
We are over deodorizing. It's just too much. And look at Jeff is like, I came here tonight to talk about what is this nonsense?
What kind of show is this, Pete? Actually, what I was going to tell you is that have you seen the television ad that goes along with that jingle?
Yes, I got the video sent to me. It's great.
It was a little kind of explicit for me. I don't know.
I just think everything now, you're supposed to put deodorant everywhere. It's no fun. I mean, come on, it's okay to smell a little bit. You were typing furiously, Nathan. Well,
you said you wanted a part in March, so I just thought I'd
quickly jotting
I'm
something
observing
down.
you up close.
A little
describing your
typecasting.
figure.
You're writing in a radio host. All right, fair enough. Kurt Newman will be here at 7:35, folks. He is the front man and founder of the Bodines. It is coming up on the 40th year anniversary of their album Love and Hope and Sex and Dreams, which won an award. I think they were called the Breakthrough Band by Rolling Stone in 1986. Very exciting stuff. But Kurt will be here talking about some Wisconsin dates coming up at 7:35. Right now, very exciting. I've got two of my pals here tonight talking about film incentives. Jeff Kurz from Milwaukee and Nathan Deming Where are you? Are you a man without a home? You kind of like you're LA, but you're also hanging in Eau Claire. You're trying to make all these movies here in Wisconsin. What's going on?
That's definitely pulling me here, is making movies here.
Yeah.
Are we going to have an opportunity to really quickly give our athlete?
Yes, by all means. Yeah, let's.
Nobody said Giannis yet, right?
No, they have not.
Okay, I'm going to go with Giannis for pro.
Okay.
And does anybody remember Ron Dane for
of
college?
course, yeah,
I grew
absolutely.
up idolizing Ron Dane. Yeah.
Okay. I did too.
And see, I was going to say the Great Dane too.
Oh, you were? Oh,
yeah.
Dane. All right, those are both.
He
great
was fun
answers.
to watch. Yeah, my uncle used to take me to games.
Do you have that moment? Like, I remember when I was like 11 years old, growing up in Chicago, and all I wanted to be was a running back because I loved Walter Payton. And then you get to like age 12, and you already realize you have absolutely no shot whatsoever of being a professional running
There's a
back.
line somewhere.
Something happens.
Well, then you find out. I remember wondering who from around me will go to the NBA, because you wonder that as a kid. And then you look back at the athletes who are in the NBA now, and they're all like, they started like elite training camps at 8 years old or whatever. You're like, okay, none of us had a chance at all.
All right, I want to ask you guys what you're working on too. You're both doing such cool things. I want to get a Deep Woods update from Jeff, and I want to talk to you about your project, making a movie for every month of the year in Wisconsin, which I think is so ambitious and so cool. But I really am curious, like, how in Wisconsin, what do we do here to encourage projects to come here as opposed to Minnesota or Illinois or Iowa or wherever? What do you do? How do you do that? How do you sell our state?
I think that starting out, it's going to be incumbent upon people who have some kind of tie to the state to want to come here and make a movie. And so I mentioned at the beginning of the show that I personally know about 10 projects that are kind of in holding patterns to see if these incentives were going to go through. And all of them, full transparency, 2 of them are mine. But all of them have some kind of Wisconsin tie. And I think that that's really what's going to set the pace. And Nathan Deming is a prime example of that, right?
Well, we have a marketable identity. I don't like that term, but we have a recognizable identity. I mean, you have to look in the past few years, like up in Eau Claire, we have like a couple regional heroes right now. Basically, Bon Iver is from Eau Claire, Michael Perry, this novelist. So like we have other areas that artists are like exploding and like attached to the state. People know the state. Charlie Barron's has exploded as one of the only Midwest comedians that's like known nationally.
Right.
I think that's a huge part of like we have something here, especially in the Northwoods. I mean, I don't know if you remember, was it like 8 years ago now? There was this clown panic. Do you remember this clown panic?
Shot right here, gags.
Well,
right?
that started because
Yeah.
of a short film made in Wisconsin, and immediately like just traveled around the world, and like people were talking about being paranoid about clowns. That all just started here, like as like a fever dream in the Northwoods.
Do you guys have? I've been scared of clowns a lot longer than that myself. Do you guys have a certain kind of like? Let's say no one has ties to Wisconsin, and we're trying to get them to come here. What kind of films typically do you think would find Wisconsin appealing? We have so much. We have cities, lakes, prairies and farms. What kind of production typically do you think would be drawn to us?
I think that it's Nathan. You're probably going to have, you kind of, because you're an active director, right? And I'm a producer. But I really feel like Wisconsin is primed for modestly budgeted movies that could be holiday movies. There's an insatiable appetite for Christmas movies, as Duluth has discovered with some of the movies that they're making. I think that there could be a steady stream of not expensive movies that are kind of geared toward the crew base that we have, our locations. We have beautiful, very quaint towns in Wisconsin that have never been seen on film, right? And so there's an opportunity there for, as Nathan said, like Santa Clarita does not scream like Christmas, right?
Right. I think too, like, I don't know how many films, or at least big budget films, have ever been shot in Door County, but you've got Bayfield. Like, Somewhere in Time was filmed on Mackinac Island, and that's one of my favorite places in the world. It's beautiful. But we have beauty here that really rivals that. Door County, Bayfield, you go west by the Mississippi, all kinds of stuff could be shot
Apostle
there.
Islands.
Apostle Islands.
Yeah, no, I really want to film something there someday. Yeah. Well, so the New York Times was just doing its like top 100 list. Did you follow that at all? Top 100 films of the
The New York
21st century.
I'm not familiar with
Yeah,
that.
it's like something. And so basically, well, one of them was Bridesmaids, which is what I'm leading up to. Bridesmaids set in Milwaukee, filmed in Los Angeles. If you watch it, and there's all these details that are weird, like well, it's not crazy to have a Scottish cop, a charming Scottish cop in Wisconsin, but like when you look at the road they're on, everything about it is just like rural
It's like
California.
a 2-lane highway that goes from Milwaukee to Chicago, right?
right. With just all the flora and fauna of California, not Wisconsin. So like, you just don't. We're missing authenticity here, and I've talked to artists and writers of like all backgrounds here. I think we're all really frustrated with the fact that for some reason, the coasts here Midwest, and they get bored, or it's like we're nothing. They don't hate us, they just think it's not interesting. Right. I think if we get a chance to tell our own stories, we can really show them like we got a lot going on here. We're not just Fargo, we're not
Absolutely. Jeff Kurz and Nathan Deming are my guests, both Wisconsin filmmakers, both with great track records of making movies and being part of movie sets, and we're talking about incentives. But let's move on. Jeff, you did a movie a few years ago called Deep Woods. We talked about it on this show last time. I think last time you were on. I really enjoyed it. What do you have coming up that you're working on?
Currently, I'm working on a couple projects, including something that, interestingly, was supposed to shoot in New Jersey, but the filmmaker, who I've known for a long time, brought it to me and said, "Can we make this cheaper in Milwaukee?" I redid his budget. And he was going to get $600,000 out of the state of New Jersey. And even with that, I was able to get $250,000 out of his budget. So he said, "Let's do it here." It's got a very nice cast. It's John Cameron Mitchell, Margaret Cho, and Melissa Leo. We are currently talking to financiers, but this is the situation where a very modestly budgeted movie, a real passion project for all three actors who I just mentioned. So that's basically what I'm working on right now.
Great. And you are working. Tell us where you're at with your project, making a film, your year project, which is so cool.
Well, my next film's going to be something else that I'll be coy about. I've got a couple irons in the fire, but yeah, I'm excited to return to that as soon as possible. Maybe shooting it next spring. So
is this the Untitled Pete Schwaba project?
This is the Untitled Pete Schwaba story.
Awesome.
Yeah, and
it's fascinating.
Yeah. Audiences 0%. No, so I'm excited to get back to that when I have.
And do you have, like, with March? February was so great.
Nice.
With March, do you have that story? Is that script written? Is it still just an idea? Okay.
Yeah, I have up through June written right now. I'm really excited about the arc I want to bring you on. But I need some incentives, Jeff. I need some.
You and I we're working on it.
And where can people see Deep Woods, Jeff?
Oh, they can't anymore.
What?
Our distributor was called 1091 Pictures, and they were under the umbrella of Chicken Soup for the Soul, which I thought was a very healthy company, but apparently I don't know what happened, but they went bankrupt. So right now we're trying to figure out exactly what to do with that. So but I take that back. Actually, I've heard that you can see this movie on Tubi. So go to Tubi and put in Deep Woods. And
hey, we're all on Tubi.
There you go.
And I always steer people there. I'm like, well, you can watch it here and pay $5, but Tubi's great.
Yeah. We could plug, if we're plugging anything, we could plug that, like, this is an important time for Action Wisconsin and, like, people, like, learning about the bill, because although we have, like, we're growing momentum and support among the legislators, like, it's really important still to contact your legislators. So it's just actionwisconsin.org, and then there's a take action button that's like a little pre-filled out thing.
So it's actually actionwi.org, and as Nathan said, there's a button on it that says, first of all, you can read the bills. They are featured on the homepage, and then there's a button that you can. We made it very easy. You click on this button, you put in your name, address, zip code. The names of your reps come up because nobody ever knows who their reps are, and then there's a pre-written email that you hit send, and it'll go to them, just asking them for their support.
That was my next question. So very well done.
Sorry.
People can. No, that's great. I'm glad people know where they can go to do that. So let me ask you this, guys. How do you? I know the landscape has changed in terms of like what you get. Like if you don't have a huge star in your film where you get money up front or help finance it or whatever, how do you make your money back? It seems like if you make $1 million or $2 million film, you have to win Sundance. Or if you have a micro budget and you can pull it off and have great production value, you have a better chance of recouping. Where are things at regarding?
This is why I said I think the future is regional cinema. Ask Hundreds of Beavers, ask Green and Gold. These
Yeah.
are two independent films that made Hundreds of Beavers made $1 million,
That's
with
insane.
a budget of like 150K, and then I think Green and Gold had closer to $1 million, but then made like 2 or 3 times that back. Hundreds of Beavers did it with a tour. I took my film on tour. If I had charged money, I might have made a little money. You know, there's a real appetite, I think, in like approaching audiences directly. Because the other piece of this we didn't mention is that 60% of the theaters in Wisconsin are independently owned. Those theater
Right.
owners want special events to bring people
Yes.
into, and we're really excited about Green and Gold, and saw like how people turned out again and again and again.
And there's also, you know, what I want to piggyback onto that, because there's, you know, we're living in a time of authenticity. And it used to be that you would see, and we were talking about Bridesmaids and some other movies.
Hey,
That
Jeff,
were-
can you hold that? Can you hold that
Sure.
thought? We'll come back. We're going to do a very short break, and we'll
Okay,
have a
good.
few more minutes with these guys who are gracious enough to hang out with me tonight here on Nightlight. It's great to have you both, and we will finish up after this very short break. It's Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I guess I'll leave that question to the experts. Assuming that there are some out there, they're probably alone, solitaire. I can remember when I caught up with a pastime intimate friend. She said,
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Maggie Dawn Show.
As a U.S. Navy veteran and business owner, I've lived through moments where every detail counts, and I carry that into mass appeal. That's why I personally ensure we deliver top quality promotional materials like t-shirts, sweatshirts, and more to help your company, whether it is a local business or school, gain the visibility it needs to thrive. Your logo is our business, and we're here to make your vision come true.
Go to massappealwi.com or drop by their shop on Lineville Road, just off Highway 41.
Look up cheese curds, you'll find this basic definition: wet pieces of curdled milk. Well, it should also include the word delicious. As we continue to celebrate June Dairy Month, do you know how much milk is needed to make 1 pound of cheese curds? 16 ounces, 64 ounces, or 160 ounces, 10 pounds of milk? The answer coming up.
It actually is a sound of freshness.
Rachel Kerr is talking about squeaky curds. She's with the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin and a bit of a cheese nerd.
Those elastic protein strands rub against the enamel of your teeth and create that characteristic sound.
The squeak turns stretchy when battered and deep fried. Some believe the idea to fry globs of cheese happened by accident. I consider it a happy accident. Okay, did you guess? It takes 10 pounds of milk, which is a big gallon jug plus a little bit more, to make 1 pound of squeaky cheese curds. Call me your curd girl for this slice of Wisconsin. I'm Terry Barr for the Civic Media Radio Network.
Matinee on Air.
From articles that I have seen, if you are a bagel purist, you should not toast your bagel. I think nothing's better than a toasted bagel and a schmear.
Folks, do we have a moment of honesty? Do you really like bagels, or do you like the schmear that is transported by them? Get rid of the stigma. If I walk into this room eating cream cheese out of a tub with a spoon.
Why is that wrong?
Matinee on Air. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app.
Teachers are diverse, skilled leaders, innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Teaching shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
Pete Schwaba and Nightlight. Welcome back, folks. Kurt Newman will be here in just a few minutes talking about some upcoming tour dates for the Bodines, including one at the Atwood Music Hall, the beautiful new Atwood Music Hall in Madison. Right now, we've got a few more minutes with our current guests, Jeffrey Kurz from Milwaukee and Nathan Deming, two very talented filmmakers here in Wisconsin, trying to get legislation passed so that we can get even more films shot here in Wisconsin and make it economically feasible. Jeff, you were making a point right before the break, and I would love for you to continue with that.
Oh, Yeah, I was just saying that I think that we're living in a time of authenticity, and for so long we've seen films set in Wisconsin that weren't made here, with people who really haven't spent any time here. And I think that, to Nathan's point, if you give the if you give the people what they want, they'll turn out. And so, not only Green and Gold, there was that recent documentary about the 1982 Brewers during the World Series. I think it's
Just a
called
bit outside.
Just a Bit
Yeah.
Outside. Yeah, exactly right. And I think that it's a combination of giving the people what they want in a kind of a regional atmosphere. If it breaks out, that's fantastic too, right?
Yeah.
And it's also about trying to be as economically prudent as possible in terms of how much a movie costs, right?
Yeah. Boy, I would love to be able to do budgets. Like I finish something or my son will ask me to help him with something. I'm like, I just don't know budgets. You have to know budgets to know what's feasible, right? I mean,
I know how to do budgets, but I'm never correct. I'm always under what I need to spend.
it cost you $4,000 to get here from Eau Claire.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a red
Yeah,
flag.
yeah.
I don't know how that happened, but well, this has been great, guys. What are you guys watching? Have you seen any of the big summer blockbusters? I just saw F1 a couple days ago, and I was underwhelmed. But what have you guys been watching?
Jeff, you go first.
So we just started. So I'm a huge Scott Frank fan. So he did Godless and Queen's Gambit for television, but he also wrote Out of Sight, that Steven Soderbergh movie, and he has a new series that's on Netflix called Department Q that's set in Belfast, Ireland.
I'm watching that right now.
Yeah, it's great, right?
It's
we just
great,
started it last night. I really like that. There's, as a palate cleanser, there's this great series called Adults about these 20-somethings living in Brooklyn that's hilariously funny. So that's kind of, and as far as like feature films, loved Ryan Coogler's movie Sinners.
Oh my gosh, that was great. That's my favorite so far this year. And it's funny, I just gave Out of Sight a rewatch about 3 months ago. And why isn't Don Cheadle more of a famous actor? He is so great in he steals that movie from me. Like Clooney's great, he's fine. But man, I love Don Cheadle.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What about you, buddy? What are you watching?
This weekend, my brother and I binged all the documentaries about Ocean Gate Titan.
Oh, is that the thing that exploded?
The sub that imploded, yeah. We got
sounds whimsical.
Wait, there's more than one of those?
Oh, there's like 3 of them. The BBC, HBO, and Netflix all made a documentary. So you put them all together and you get something.
I want to know.
And by the way, for those of us who don't have time, which is the best?
The HBO one.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty solid. The Netflix one was like lazy. They just like edited together archive footage and we're like, here we go.
Why? If I had $1 million, the last thing I would do would be something life-threatening. Like I've made it. Why am I doing? These guys are insane, right? Jeff, you got a ton of money. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I'm loaded.
What about binge watching? Are you watching? Like you mentioned Department Q. I just started that, and it's just so great. I watched a movie or a show recently that I discovered that came out in 2012 called Line of Duty. I'm back and forth on British. People that watch all the British shows kind of look down their nose at you, even though they live in Freedom, Wisconsin. Like, it's like, okay, I like some of the British stuff, but not all of it. You know what I mean? Like, but this Line of Duty was so good. And it was like the #1 show on BBC 2, and they moved it to BBC 1. But there's like 6 seasons over like 10 years, and it is dynamite. I cannot say enough good things about it.
Do you like the
that was it?
American or
That
British
by the way.
Office?
So go ahead. I'm sorry, Nathan. Go ahead.
He asked me if I like the American or British Office
based
better.
on what he just
No,
said.
I know. That's a great question because when I first saw the British Office, 12 episodes, and then they wrapped it up with the Christmas special, I thought, I'm going to boycott whatever America does with this.
Yeah.
But I have changed my thinking. What America does is so much more difficult because we make so many damn episodes. What they did was incredible. Steve Carell is brilliant, and I think it was harder to do what NBC did almost than it was to do with what Ricky Gervais did in BBC. So how's that for an answer?
That's a good answer. They're diagnosing different cultural problems too.
True.
So yeah, I got to go with the British one.
That's true. What were you going to say, Jeff?
Oh, I think that I was talking about Line of Duty. That was huge. That was one of those shows that were like people stayed in. When people still did that, they would stay in to watch that.
See, okay, that makes total sense because I had never heard of this, and I don't even know. I stumbled on it, and they have these great interrogation scenes, but then it was at the end of season 3 where the Kate character all of a sudden is carrying a machine gun and chasing someone down a city street. And I'm like, this show has everything. Like, just when you think it's this cerebral show, they break out this great action. Great stuff. Tell us when we can, we've got about a minute left, guys. When will we have some closure, or when will we find out about the legislation, whether it passed or not?
It's hard to say. So first of all, today was the last day of the spring session for the legislators.
Okay.
So in my mind, I think that, and this is not too far away, I'm thinking that early September, we're gonna get some kind of general vote. But if that's 2 months away. So
right. And you said you liked its chances.
I mean,
Nathan.
it feels good. I mean, we have these legislators behind us, and again, the more we've talked about it, it just seems like generally people are for it, and they just don't know what it is. I mean, I get it. Like, tax incentive policy is a little obscure, but it's just the landscape of filming now. And then the other thing people don't know is the big picture that Hollywood's leaving Hollywood, and they're worried about LA becoming Detroit, which is just bonkers to think about.
Right.
So that's part of the opportunity, because LA's losing jobs, Chicago's gaining jobs, Illinois is gaining jobs, Minnesota's
You can't
gaining
surf in Detroit. We'll leave it there. Jeff, thank you so much. Nathan, best of luck, you guys. Keep us posted.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank strangers. You're very welcome. We're coming back with Bodine's founder and frontman, Kurt Newman, next on Nite Light with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Todd Allball Show.
Come work with us. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state. Open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
ABC News, I'm Stephanie Officer. The Trump administration announcing it has revoked the U.S. visas for the British band Bob Dylan. Officials saying it's a response to the rappers chanting "Death, Death" to the Israeli Defense Forces at the Glastonbury Music Festival in the UK this past weekend. State Department Press Secretary Tammy Bruce.
It really is about our standards, about who we let in the country. That we're not telling people what they can sing about or what they can say. It's not involved here at all. They obviously felt free to say what they were saying and chanting at Glastonbury. And they can do that. And we can do what we do.
An endangered wild Asian horsefoal is living its best life thanks to an unlikely savior. Marat the horse fell critically ill soon after its birth at the Minnesota Zoo nearly 2 months ago. Intensive care saved his life, but his mother rejected him when he returned. His future looked grim until Alice, a domestic pony of the Americas who'd recently lost her newborn, accepted him as her own. This is ABC News.
A new contract for Bobby Portis. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks reached a deal over the weekend for 30-year-old Bobby Portis to remain in Milwaukee. It's a 3-year contract worth $44 million. They've also made an offer to 23-year-old guard Ryan Rollins to stay with the team. Baseball, a travel day for the Brewers. They play the Mets tomorrow night. The Crew losing 4-3 in extra innings after Trevor McGill gave up a game-tying home run to former Brewer Orlando Arcia in the 9th.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, everybody's a big leaguer for a reason, and, their season's obviously not going the way they want it to, but, they still got 19 wins on the board, and one of them was today. So it is what it is, and, fix it and move forward.
The Rockies' Kyle Farmer.
Our record isn't very good, obviously. We're just taking day by day, and for us to come back and keep fighting is a positive. We just got to keep doing that and take the positives out of a win and just kind of slowly get back to it.
That's Rockies infielder Kyle Farmer. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Attention avid readers, if there are still any left. You can never have enough psychological thrillers as far as I'm concerned, and thanks to Amazon, there is a new one on the way based on a best-selling book. The streamer has purchased rights to Frida McFadden's The Tenant, which has been atop the New York Times bestseller chart for 7 weeks. The story follows Blake Porter, a marketing executive who loses his job and takes in a boarder to help make ends meet. You can imagine how that goes. Tough to find a good roommate, much less one who won't try to kill you. If you haven't been to Summerfest yet, but have been meaning to go, you still have time. One more weekend to be specific. The third and final weekend of one of the world's biggest music festivals kicks off again this Thursday, July 3rd. This upcoming weekend's music lineup includes Benson Boone, Fountains of Wayne, Social Distortion, John Oates, Without Hall, that doesn't seem right, Everclear, and the Lumineers. Hot fun in the summertime. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nite Light with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Join the family. Civic Media has a number of great jobs across the state open now at civicmedia.us/careers.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. A stray shower or storm this evening, otherwise mostly clear and a low in the low 60s tonight. Sunshine and warmer for tomorrow, high in the low 80s. Another slight storm chance Wednesday and Thursday. A little more humidity as well, highs into the mid 80s. Right now it's 80.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Madam Mayor, Satya Rhodes Conway from the fabulous city of Madison.
A lot of people say, I don't like politics. It's all dirty and angry and blah, blah, blah. It's really about caring about your community, finding a way to bring it back to people talking to each other about what is important in our place and how do we take care of each other and use the levers of government to do that. That's really what it's about.
The award-winning Maggie Dawn Show at its new time, weekdays 4 till 6 p.m. The Todd Albaugh Show.
The Joint Finance Committee was leaked that they intend to cut $87 million from the UW system budget. And so we put this out on our socials last night, and today the Joint Finance Committee decided to pull that from the agenda. Because apparently, from what I'm told, Republican legislators got a lot of calls. When the truth is disseminated and people react, results can happen.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Jane Matnair and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show, breaking down more decisions.
This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. I am Pete Schwaba. Great to have you with me on this beautiful Monday night as we broadcast live statewide from beautiful downtown Green Bay. Our question of the night, you still have time to get in on the action here, is who is your favorite athlete to wear a Wisconsin college or pro uniform? Let me know, and I will read your text on the radio, folks. I need to catch up on some of those soon. And you can also tell me if you saw F1 too. I saw this film, and it looked like they somehow crammed 5 hours of music into a 2.5-hour movie. I don't know how they did it, but let me know your thoughts. Right now, I'm very excited to welcome my next guest. In the 90s, I discovered, actually it was the 80s, I discovered the Bodines, and I eventually got to know them a little bit, specifically Kurt Newman, who wrote a movie score for my film, The Godfather of Green Bay, and I've just been a huge fan ever since, and I'm very thrilled to welcome him onto Nightlight for the first time. Kurt Newman, the front man and founder of the Bodines. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Pete, how you doing?
Doing very well. It's great to hear your voice, and great to have you on the show.
Oh, it's good to be here.
Are you where? So you're coming to? You've got a date in Madison in 2 days, and I know you're in Colorado. Yeah. Are you doing shows there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a bunch of shows out here in Colorado. We've been kind of flying around the country doing all different areas, all different cities, like I've been doing for the last 40 years. And yeah, we're going to be back there in the Midwest for a couple of shows next week.
So, all right,
this week.
Yeah, in 2 days. Let's talk about that. But you just said 40 years. This is kind of cool. When I discovered you guys, Outside Looking In had just come out, but I had to go back and check out Love and Hope and Sex and Dreams. That has a 40-year anniversary coming up. What are your thoughts on that? It was such a breakthrough album. I think it was Rolling Stone said you guys were the breakout band of the year in 1986 or 1987. How do you feel about Love and Hope and Sex and Dreams all these years later?
You know, I'm proud of it. It was a good record. It was a great snapshot of the band, you know, where they were at that time in our careers. And so I'm proud of it. You know, I see the 40-year anniversary not just of that one record. I see it as, like I said, of going town to town, playing songs for 40 years, you know, is the way I really see it, because really we were touring around before Love and Open Sex and Dreams and every day since. And so I just kind of feel like it's a celebration of 40 years of singing songs with all these different fans in all these different cities, all these different places, and people who have been connected to the music for so many years, and so that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. Although, I obviously Love and Hope and Sex and Dreams is part of that history, but I kind of see all the records as part of that history, and every day going forward,
That is fantastic. I'm just going to share how I discovered the Bodines. It was 1987, and I was in my dorm room at DePaul University, and a buddy of mine comes in and says, "Hey, I got an extra ticket for U2." And I almost passed on going to see U2 for $20 at the Rosemont Horizon. And I'm so glad I went because I got into you guys. You were the opening act. And when you said we're from Waukesha, Wisconsin, the place went nuts because you guys were so close to home. And that was the first time I saw you guys, and I've been hooked on your music ever since. It's been just so much fun. So let's talk about, you have a date coming up in 2 days in Madison at the brand new Atwood Music Hall. What have you heard about it? And do you have a favorite venue in Madison or one you typically play?
No, we played lots of different venues there, probably all of them, and in the time frame we've been playing. But this one, they just kind of got back together. My understanding, it's got quite a long musical history to it, and the room looks pretty cool as far as set up for acoustics. It's set up for music and performance. So I just really wanted to give that room a shot and see what it sounded like as well. And so we'll be there. It's, like I said, it's relatively new to the town, or being reintroduced rather. But I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like, what it sounds like in there, and what it feels like.
One of our texters, Bridget from the 818 area code, says, Kurt Newman, my favorite, 4 exclamation marks, Kurt. I'm just telling you. She says, such a talented musician and songwriter, the best live performer I've ever seen. That's kind of cool.
Wow.
Thank you, Bridget, for that text. And the
Very
Bodines
nice.
are a great live band. I saw you do a show in Milwaukee. It was at Sprecher. Does that sound right? Like in 2017 maybe, or 2016?
We did a beer with them, way back when. They did a Bodines brew kind of thing, and we played in their, I don't know, basement or their room for having beer, and that was quite an event because we were very loud in a tiny little room, but it was fun.
It was a blast. And you look like you were having so much fun. I think Kenny Aronoff was playing with you. I know he was because I got a picture with you guys, but what's your favorite venue to play, Kurt? You've played huge venues and you've played these little ones. Do you have a sweet spot where you like a live crowd, venue size?
It's the thing to say about that is it's not the physical location like a venue or anything like that. It's the crowd that shows up for a band. That makes all the difference in the world for the band. You can be in a tiny place, you can be in a huge space. If the crowd is there and they're into it, then it's the best show. It's because that's the only reason I'm there,
Yeah.
I can play music in my living room all I want and enjoy music, but what I'm trying to do is come out and play a show and do it with people, with the audience. We're trying to all come together. I tell people every night when I play that music has a healing quality to it, and this world right now could really use some healing quality. There's been so much division and pulling apart, and I just think music has a magical ability to pull people back together. You forget all your strange belief systems for a while, and you just get into the music and you sing songs together, and you remember your humanity. And so that's why I still to this day love playing music and just getting in a room and let's put all the bull aside and just come together and sing some songs together and remember what really matters and what feels so great and healing to your soul. So that's what I set out to do at a show. That's what makes any venue I'm in the best venue that night.
That's a great answer. And it's funny because I remember when I would go see you play in the 90s or 2000s or whatever, I never cared what people's political beliefs were. You know what I mean? Like, we're just all here enjoying music. And you're very right about that and the healing powers. One of our texters, Tom from the 414, says, hear to music. Agree with Kurt. And Dave on the stream says, I've never watched the Bodines live, but love their music. Well, you have a great opportunity now, Dave, because they've got some great dates coming up here in Wisconsin, too.
I tell people a lot of times, too, like, my dad's side of the family really wrestled with depression in his side, and I found that lots of times in my life, too, it can grab a hold of me really tightly. And so the one thing that I found that really could battle against it and lift me out of it every time was music. And I was so happy in my life that I found music to do that for me, because I can put on something and will immediately lift my spirits. And I have fans tell me that all the time when I play. Like, they fly around the country to see us because to them it lifts them up and makes them feel good, and it's worth the investment and stuff. And I just think music has that power. And in our society right now, when it comes to the arts, we've been just kind of pushing them aside, and like they're losing this value in our culture. And I just want to remind people of how important the arts are in your life. They have a priceless quality to them that, other things just don't. You can go out shopping and buy clothes and cars and jewelry. It just doesn't have that same quality that the arts have,
Right. In a car, like, the value wears off after a while. You like it when you first drive it, but the music that has been there your whole life, you keep coming back to it. It's always there for you. And I could not agree more with you. You have some other dates coming up. To Dave's text, the Bodines are playing Friday, July 11th. I hope these are accurate, Kurt. I just pulled them off the website, so I don't know if anything has changed. But
sure, they should be.
Yeah, Indian Crossing Casino in Wapaka on the 11th. Big Top Chautauqua in Bayfield. We were just talking about Bayfield earlier on the 12th. Am I saying this right? The Utapulse Brewing in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah.
So lots of places. And how does it, you started here. I know you're based in Austin, Texas now. It must be fun to come back to Wisconsin to play for your homies, right?
Yeah. I'm spending the entirety of July, in the Midwest. I don't, most of the summers I spend in the Midwest because we do a lot of shows up there, and it's just a better central location, even if we are going east or west or something like that. So it makes a lot of sense. So I still get my summers up there, which, in my opinion, it's the best place to be from summer till fall up there. It's just the most gorgeous. And so it's nice, yeah. And, Austin's great to spend your winters in, but it's nothing like the Midwest.
You have a song called Hurt by Love, and you were talking about your dad recently. If I could just geek out on Bodine's music. That song, I play the guitar for like a year, then I'll put it down for 2, and then I'll pick it back up for 3 months. That's commitment. But that is one of my favorite songs to play on the guitar. And you mentioned your dad, and you address your dad in that song. Do you still play that in concert? Did you ever break that out?
Yeah, sometimes. I haven't played it recently, but I really do love that song. It's got such a personal connection to me and my dad, and, how he saw the world, and I learned a lot of lessons from my dad and his mistakes that he made in life, and I think sometimes he felt like a failure as a father, but, I told him one time, well, I learned a lot from your mistakes and what not to do as well, My dad suffered from alcoholism, and it was tough. He didn't have a great upbringing himself, and he wasn't really educated, and he had to kind of fight for everything he got in life. And so as a kid, you're not aware of it, but as I got older in my teens and 20s and stuff, I became aware of what his struggles were, and I learned a lot about what not to do myself from his actions. And so, in some ways, it's a good lesson. He gave me some good lessons to learn as well. But, so, I try to write. I also wrote a song called Father's Day that's on Indigo's Dreams. That's a really beautiful song, which is also about my dad and his struggles with alcohol.
That's so great. You'll have to come back, Kurt, when I know you're putting out new material soon, but when that gets closer, you'll have to come back. We have about 30 seconds left, but who do you like to collaborate with that's not a Bodine the most?
Well, when I'm home listening to music, I listen to a lot of instrumental stuff and jazz and stuff. So I have a real affection for something. There's a couple artists, like I've always loved listening to Branford Marsalis play. I think when he plays his horns, it's just magical. And I also love a guitar player who plays with Sting. His name is Dominic Miller, and he just puts out some incredible solo records. So I just love his stuff as well.
Well, keep the music coming, buddy. We'll be listening, and would love to sit down when we have a little more time. And if you're ever in the area, you have an open invitation to come into the studio. It'd be great to hear you play or just talk Bodines. Thanks so much, buddy.
All right, you take care.
All right, you too. Knock 'em dead. That's Kurt Newman, founder and frontman of the Bodines. You can catch them at the Atwood Music Hall in just 2 days, folks, in Madison, Wisconsin. We're coming right back to wrap things up. It's Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
As Wisconsin is summer weekends being spent on the lake, this is the Civic Media Radio Network.
It's officially time for fireworks. And do you think you're ready for all the festivities? It's Amanda with another new Wisco 411 for you, brought to you by Area 509 in Appleton. And 4th of July is officially here this Friday, which means we're having a whole weekend of big booms and big booming events. In fact, there's too many for me to list. So if you're not sure how you're celebrating America's birthday this year, head to WGBW.FM and click events to see what's going on in your community.
Timeout.
All right. Remember, we're a team that plays together. Listen, the winning will take care of itself. We just have to get everyone involved.
In interscholastic sports, we celebrate what makes every one of us unique. And in the pursuit of a common goal, everyone in the huddle, in the bleachers, and in the community comes together. This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
An unsuspecting driver at a Milwaukee barbershop.
I got an apprentice here shadowing me. I'm gonna put this hot towel on, man. About a good 3 minutes, all right?
The apprentice is Donald Driver.
So when you come here, you drive?
Yes.
Your car got seatbelts?
Yeah.
You wear them?
No.
Okay, but why not?
I don't want to.
But do you know you can get a ticket for that? I'm gonna give you a ticket. Bet you wish you buckle up now.
Oh my God.
Donald Driver can't always be there to remind you.
Take it, click it. There we go. Click it or ticket.
And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways. Sponsored by Wisconsin DOT.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Matt Nair on air.
PJ Leash, the bug guy, he heads the entomology department at UW-Madison, and we are talking ticks.
When a deer tick transmits Lyme disease, it takes 36 hours, so about a day and a half. And that's why, in my mind, one of the single best things you can do as a precaution is to do regular tick checks. Because you've removed it, your risk goes down greatly to basically zilch.
Matt Nair on air, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. The Todd Albaugh Show.
The Joint Finance Committee was leaked that they intend to cut $87 million from the UW system budget. And so we put this out on our socials last night, and today the Joint Finance Committee decided to pull that from the agenda. Because apparently, from what I'm told, Republican legislators got a lot of calls. When the truth is disseminated and people react, results can happen.
The Todd Albaugh Show, weekdays 2 to 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and
Welcome back. Been a fun show. Talked some film incentives, some filmmaking here in Wisconsin, and then with Kurt Newman, the founder and frontman of the Bodines. I don't know what I was thinking. We booked Kurt for like one segment. I had 200 questions. It's just a little bit off there.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Good to catch up with Kurt. And again, if you do happen to watch The Godfather of Green Bay, that is Kurt's score that he wrote throughout the film, and lots of Bodine songs on the soundtrack too. So check that out, and check out Kurt at the Atwood Music Hall, with his band, the Bodines. That's Thursday night. Lots of other Wisconsin dates. Indian Crossing Casino, Big Top, Chautauqua, and Bayfield. If you're over in the western part of the state, you can catch them in Minneapolis. Go to bodines.com or net. I can't remember if they're a com or a net. I was just on the website earlier. But tomorrow night on the show, Carl Lowenstein will be here from Sturgeon. What did I say? It was Sturgeon Distillers. How do I not have Carl's information here? I literally just had it, Conrad, and now I can't find it. Carl is he's going to be here in the studio, and it's Sturgeon Spirits Distillery. Sound like I've been drinking. Sturgeon Spirits Distillery. I love that, in Oshkosh. Carl will be in the studio talking about the making of booze. That fascinates me, and I am so excited to have Carl on the show tomorrow night. Maybe he'll give us a little taste test. What do you think before we drive on home?
Ooh, I'd love that.
That could be fun.
Well, you didn't have to put it like that.
Before we Uber home. Carl will be here in studio tomorrow night. That'll be fun. Wednesday, we have a short week, folks. We're going to take some time off for the 4th of July. Wednesday will be Matt Miller, Milwaukee film critic. Always fun to talk to Matt. I can't wait to talk to Matt about F1. I hope he's seen it.
I feel like he's going to hate it.
You think so?
I don't know. Just the way that you were talking about it, I feel like he's going to
like it. I don't get it. I think they've all gone soft, but maybe I'm missing something too. Matt probably knows more about certainly critiquing a movie than I do. And then also on Wednesday, Wendy Schneider will be here. Wendy made a film called The Smart Studio Story about Butch Vig and Steve Marker, who started the Smart Studios in Madison and ended up producing bands like Nirvana and the Smashing Pumpkins. Her documentary is outstanding, and it will be playing at the Atwood Music Hall, interestingly enough. Wendy will be here on Wednesday to talk about that screening. We got some texts we got to catch up on here, Conrad. I don't know if you noticed that, but our question of the night. Yeah, what was our question of the night? What's your favorite Wisconsin athlete who has ever worn a college or pro uniform? And let's start with Steady Eddie. Steady Eddie from the 608 says, Pete, favorite athlete to play for a Wisconsin team, Bruce McCauley. He was a teammate of mine in high school. He started for the University of Wisconsin basketball team in the early 70s. Excellent shooter, smart player, good guy. Tip of the hat also to Hank Aaron. He was a great player and wonderful role model. Agreed, Steady Eddie. He says, I got to see him play for the Braves and Brewers. Steady Eddie, did you get to see him play for the Milwaukee Braves or the Atlanta Braves? Brewers were definitely in Milwaukee. And we read Bridget's text. Bridget also sent another text. She says, Robin Yount, an athletic figure from my childhood. Thank you, Bridget, from the 818. Always great to hear from you. Steve, Conrad's dad, says, Hank Aaron, the true home run record holder. I agree, Steve. Robin Yount, Milwaukee Brewers, and Mark Johnson, Wisconsin Badger, Olympic gold hockey. Currently coach of the Badger women's hockey. Oh, that's interesting. Your dad's a hockey fan.
I didn't know it.
You just found that out with me.
I guess so.
Yeah, because Hank Aaron, I don't even think there were steroids back then. Certainly not when Babe Ruth played. But Hank Aaron shattered Babe Ruth's record.
I think Babe Ruth's steroids was cigars and booze.
Hot dogs. Yeah, exactly. Jack from Merrimack says, haven't seen F1 yet, but if you want to see what I think of as a great racing film, see Steve McQueen's 24 Hours of Le Mans. I've heard that's a good movie. Jack continues and says, that's an incredible crash. There's an incredible crash scene in there, and there was absolutely no CGI. Yeah, that is something. Thank you for the recommendation, Jack. I will definitely check that out. 24 Hours of Le Mans. Not to be confused with 24 Hours of Lamaze, which is about a woman being in labor for 24 hours. You don't want that. That would be worse than an auto crash, I think. Barb in Waukesha, she's in the 262, says, the entire 1982 Brewer team, my love of baseball was born. That is a great text. Thank you, Barb. And from the 608, yes, Pete, I could not agree more. I've been working on a segment for this for our show. Take a freaking shower. Stop spraying the privates. That could be towards our opening discussion about the showers here at WGBW.
It was about the...
Or the deodorant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a great text. Thank you, 608.
That's Todd Alba. Todd Alba.
Todd Alba is 608?
Yeah.
TA. I gotcha. Why doesn't Todd just identify himself rather than maybe do these mental gymnastics trying to figure out who Tate? I thought that was Tony Almond.
Who's Tony Almond?
I don't know. Could be a guy, though. Thank you, Todd. Good to hear from you. Hope you're having a safe drive back to Madison, pal. Mark from Prairie du Sac says, there was a Far Side cartoon some years ago with a man exiting the men's room with a flashing sign, didn't wash hands. I remember that. That's so fantastic. He says, one can't but remember that our current Secretary of Defense brags about not washing his hands. I did not know that. That's so great. Tom from New Berlin says, Dave Craig from Middleton College. That's the one. I couldn't find that earlier. Dave Craig from Middleton College to the Seahawks. And Dwayne Wade, another great choice from Marquette to Miami. That's a great one. Thank you, Tom.
You want to hear something cool? That free agency is happening in NBA right now.
Yeah.
Nigel Hayes, he was overseas. He was a EuroLeague champion and that Finals MVP.
He was?
And he just signed a deal with the Phoenix Suns for a year.
Oh, that's so
he's
great.
making his way back to the States.
Michael Finley, you could have said, too. Michael Finley was another great Badger. I forgot about Michael Finley. And now a film producer. Well, good for Nigel Hayes. That'll be nice. All right, folks, thank you so much for your texts. This has been great fun, as it always is here on Nightlight. Great to have you with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Kurt Newman and the Bodines. Go see Kurt and the Bodines at the Atwood Music Hall, the brand spanking new Atwood Music Hall in Madison on Thursday, July 3rd. And thank you to Nathan Deming and Jeff Kurz for discussing film incentives and the filmmaking process here in Wisconsin. Great stuff. We'll be back tomorrow night to do it all over again. Have a great night, everybody. On behalf of the lovable producer, Conrad, good night, Wisconsin.